the second Sunday of Easter. And through this time, every Sunday, coming up until the end of May, we hear a story about Jesus showing up to people after he was raised from the dead, his disciples. And some of them, well, all of them were very surprised. But one of them, whose name is Thomas, really wondered, could Jesus really be risen from the dead? And this is the story I'm going to read to everybody else here in a little bit, but this is how it goes. They called him Doubting Thomas, but let's hear about why he got that name. It said, so this happens after Jesus rose from the dead. And it says, the disciples were hiding in a house the night Jesus rose from the dead. They were afraid. They could not understand what was happening. Bam, they looked. They locked all the doors, but Jesus came and stood by them. And Jesus said to them, peace be with you. And the disciples looked up in surprise. I bet they did. Jesus showed them his hands and his side so that they would know it was him. And the disciples were very, very happy. And Jesus said to them again, peace be with you. God has sent me to you. Now it's your turn to go into the rest of the world and tell everybody about me. Jesus breathed on them in a very special way, and he said, with this breath, I will always be in your hearts, even when I'm in heaven. You now have the power to do the things I've asked you to do. Isn't that great that Jesus said, I'm going to always be with you no matter what, even when you can't see me? Now, there was one disciple who wasn't there. His name was Thomas. He was the only one not there that night. And when he got back, the others told him, wait, you are not going to believe this. We just saw Jesus. And what do you think Thomas said? Do you think he was like, oh, great? No, that is not what he said. He said, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I'll only believe when I can touch Jesus' wounds, the nail marks in his hands and in his side. So, a week later, Thomas and the other disciples were in the same house. Jesus came again and stood with them and said, peace be with you. Thomas, Jesus said, come here. Give me your hands. Put your finger on the wounds in my hand. Put your hand by the wound in my side. Don't doubt anymore. It's time for you to believe. Thomas's eyes got real big, and he said, my Lord and my God. Jesus answered him, you believe because I'm here with you and you've seen me. Think of all the people that haven't seen me, but believe anyway. You should believe even when you can't see it for yourself. The end. So, even though Thomas didn't believe in the beginning, Jesus said, come here, Thomas. I want to show you that I'm really real. Jesus didn't say, oh, go away, Thomas, I don't love you anymore. No, Jesus said, come here, Thomas, I'll always love you, and I want to show you my hands and my side, and I want you to know that I'll always be with you, and that Jesus would always be with all of us, especially you, okay? So let's have a prayer, and you're going to go out. Children's church, and then afterwards, some practice for next week, okay? Well, God, thank you this morning for all these kids, for all their families, for the children of the world. Thank you for all the ways that you continue to show your love to all of us. Amen.